you, and hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's me and Chang today. It's a ladies and man takeover. Come on, the boy who looks 12. That's what I say. Right, so but today we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. But the first thing I want to say is welcome to you, Chang. How are you today?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you for having me on such such a short notice, because I realized that it was Miss Ash that was supposed to be on, but since I was able to fill in, I thought, you know what, why not make the most of this opportunity to give something back to the fans on a Spursless weekend, and whatever you have in store for us, Queen Ellie, because I have seen the schedule, or rather the program, and I simply cannot wait to get started.
Yeah, it's a good program I got together now. So I was working on it last night and I thought, right, I'll give Jose the business. And he goes, I had to do a lot of typing, Ellie. And I told him, Greeks we're long. We don't do anything short. So hopefully Postacoglu's listening, right? Because we've got the kangaroos out for him, right? And we will be talking about something about Australia later on. But first, I want to see who's in our chat. So we welcome Ben Kaufman, the cough. Do you smell of the coffee? Yes, we do. Queen Ellie, the host with the most. Yeah, that's true. You know, I do have an array of hats as well, which Jazz Fusion loves. And then we've got Lockman, which is Eugene, your partner in crime on the watch-alongs. Hi, everyone. Big up and Levy out. I like to see that, yes, as a Levy out of myself. Right, and then next we have another one from Eugene, preparing for after ATM. We'll catch up with you all later. Oh, okay, no problem. You
I'm
go
just
and
going
do
to
what you have to
elaborate on
do
this.
and then come back to
Yeah,
us.
I'm just going to elaborate on this. The Muslims are about to break their fast in just under half
Ah,
an hour, which is where I'll be having my annual dinner at about 12 midday noon sharp. But I'm going to try and hold off my function for another half an hour to about half past midday, so that leaves me with about 90 minutes to really get into it with you, with everything that you have planned for us, Queen Ellie.
yeah, that would be fantastic. So do we have anybody else in the chat? Yes, we do. We have Kismat. Welcome, Kismat. Hi, everyone. Hi to you as well. And hi to the kangaroos as they're here. And then we got Colin Blackshaw. Good morning. Yeah, good morning, Colin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, this channel, Eltel Cockerel, we're trying to grow it as much as we can. So anybody in the chat, if you can share our link with your contacts as well, put it on your social medias for us. That will help out Jose so much. And what a lovely man he is. And he deserves all the support that he can get. We're trying to get him to at least 500 by say, I don't know, by end of April. And then we'll go on to the 1,000 later. Now we have Mia in the house. Hello, Mia. Good day. I'm on with you later, Mia. Come on, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I thought she was going to say something about Hoybier, but I think she's being a bit kind. Maybe we'll get it later. Right. Anybody else in the chat? Yes, we do. Danny LUF. Ah, lovely. A Leeds United fan. I absolutely adored Leeds United. You know, when I was a young girl, they were the best team in England. Fabulous club. Yeah, so he says, smash a like and subscribe, please. That's the way to do it, Danny. And then we have Mia saying, share and like the stream, please. Don't make me send you twice. That's right, Mia. You tell them. Yeah. You know, some people need a push when it comes to the like button, because they'll come in and they'll forget to like the stream. So we do appreciate every single like and subscribe. And here we go. My nanny's better than PEH nanny cat. Is she your dead grandmother? I think Mia. I think that's what you said last time. Oh my God. Emile Højbjerg, you know, everybody knows that's why I'm called Queen Ellie Højbjerg, because I do love him. I don't care what anybody says, I still love him. Right, so Daniel E saying big up at work but listening in. Thank you very much, Daniel E. We appreciate it, I'm telling you. Right, then we got Ben Kaufman again. I like these kangaroos because they believe in regular fullbacks. Do you know what? You know what? You should send an email to Foster Coglu, Ben. Yeah, I sent an email to the club this just this week actually, so I'm waiting for a reply. Right, so we've got Swim Master, who I used to go to school with. Hello, Swim Master. Hello, Ellie. Hello, Chang. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right, and then we have Mia. She's saying, yes, she's been dead over 20 years, bless her soul. Spurs supporter. Ah, do you know what? That's why we have parents and grandparents who were Spurs fans or friends, or we just stumbled across Spurs, you know, from a faraway land, or we just fell in love with the colours of the club, or just the ethos of the club. So everybody's got their own story. And Jose used to do a corner where like he would invite people to invite them and tell your best Spurs story or how you became a Spurs fan, which was really good. Yeah. So thank you very much for that, Mia. I like the Højbjerg this is from you. Now we've got Destiny 5 who plays number 5, Højbjerg. Pierre Ellie Højbjerg. I like that. I really like. Do you know what? I might even change my name to that by deed poll. Right. So then we've got Jordan Hyman LFC, a Liverpool fan. Now, this is the God's honest truth. I told Mia on our 12 days of Christmas that I absolutely adore Liverpool as a club as well. And I would have supported them if my dad wasn't a big Spurs fan. Honestly, I love everything about your club. You're such a brilliant club. And the way you play football is the way I like to see football throughout the years since I was a little girl as well. So he's Jordan saying, hey guys, hey Jordan, welcome to El Tel Cocorel. Lee Statham saying, hello everyone. Yeah, hello. We've got Ben Kaufman saying, my uncle and dad have a lot to answer for with my misery.
I could say the same for my daughters as well. I have a lot
Yeah,
to answer
what
to
would
you,
you
my
like to
daughters,
say
for
to
my
Ben
misery
over
as well.
that, Chang? Because he says he's in misery. Could we put him out of his misery? He'll have to go and support Manchester City probably if he wants no misery. What do you think, Chang? How are we going to help young Ben by
Let's
winning the
see now.
trophy?
The best way I can see it is to do what I did some 20 odd decades ago, sometime after we had just lost, I believe, that League Cup final, I believe it was. It was in 2001 or 2002. Please do remind me, Queen Ellie.
Yeah, I
The
think
one
it
where we
was
lost
when
to
Glenn
Blackburn.
Hoddle was in charge against Blackburn.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So it was there and then which I decided that, you know what, I'm not going to let this affect my livelihood. I'm not going to let it be like a dark cloud over me, and I'm not going to behave like a happy clapper. I'm just going to accept things the way they are, because I know I can't affect change, not when no one else is on board, in terms of Levy out and Enoch out.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's not going to be all fun and games along the way. You are going to have some dark days. We are going to have some very horrible, very mundane, even depressing, borderline Armageddon sort of mental breakdown. But
Armageddon being
on
the
the
operative
balance of
word.
it, on the when you look at it as a whole, it's been a pretty interesting ride. We've had the likes of Juande Ramos and Redknapp, and then came along, let's see now, Pochettino with Jose, say AVB,
AVB before
AVB as well.
Pochettino. Yeah.
Yep. So it's been a fun ride. We've had
Martin
ups
Yole.
and downs, and there
Yeah.
was success, or rather the hints of success along the way, but somehow or rather we have still fallen short of the biggest prize, whether it's the biggest prize domestically or in Europe. We've still fallen short here and there. But if the past has anything to do with our present and our future, good things are yet to come, Queen Ellie.
Yeah. There you go, Ben. I hope that's cheered you up a little bit, and have a cup of coffee on us. Right. So the disabled team. Hello, the disabled team. We love you. Good morning, Ellie and Chan. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Right. So let's get to the first talking point. I'll bring that up. Right. So our bad 3-0 loss, Chan, versus Fulham, the aftermath, because there's been a lot of aftermath. Some of our fan base have had meltdown. Is this justified? Do you think where this is the biggest factor that disappointed you, like the big loss that we had, or was it the fan base overreacting? What do you what would you say?
So I'm going to try to answer that first part of the question with as much neutrality and unbiased feelings I have towards it, if I can muster it up. The way I see the very unfortunate 3-0 loss away at Fulham last Saturday was not as bad as maybe, say, the away loss at Wolverhampton Wanderers, whereby we scored a very fortuitous Brennan Johnson debut goal for like the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then decided there and then to just shut up shop because the likes of Van der Ven was out with a hamstring. I believe Udogi was suspended from that red card at home against Chelsea. And to make matters worse, Maddison was off as well because he had also picked up an injury. And that 85 minutes or so since the opener by Brendan Johnson was by far the most lackluster, pedestrian, and just couldn't be bothered performance of the season. The Fulham loss was, how should I say this? Everything and anything that could have possibly gone wrong for us on the day did just that, including not being able to maintain our league scoring streak. Because if you look at the chances that we had, especially that Timo Werner missed, 99 times out of 100, any player at that position would have just knocked it home. On that occasion, that was the 1 out of 100 whereby either the cross was too fast, either he was not expecting it, or he wasn't up to speed and he hadn't warmed up enough. Whatever the reason was, that was a 1 in 100 miss, which unfortunately ended that consecutive league scoring streak. And as I mentioned, everything and anything that could have possibly gone wrong for us, and everything and anything that could have gone for them, for Fulham away at Craven Cottage, just went their way. So for me, it's a bad day in the office, and maybe the fans are overreacting a bit, especially with the Ange out calls on social media and this sort of YouTube platforms. Because, and I would actually challenge anyone in the chat to correct me on this. If Jurgen Klopp is treated fairly the same way us Spurs fans are treating Big Ange now, Klopp wouldn't have survived his second season. For unless I'm wrong, the first time Jurgen Klopp actually won anything at Liverpool was that Champions League final against no one else but us. Exactly. He required 4 years and one Champions League final missed opportunity against Liverpool to actually finally win something at the end of his fourth season. If Liverpool fans were anything like us Spurs fans, he wouldn't even been able to lift that championship, the Champions League, and much less the Premier League title. That's how overreactionary I feel some of our fans have been. I would say that for the most part on the Fulham game, on paper, the starting lineup looks deceptive. Because if you look at Maddison's fitness, if you look at Bentancur's fitness, even that of, say, Udogi and Poro, it was nowhere near what we would expect of them. That second goal that Udogi just let, I think it was Iwobi, was it? The second goal that Udogi allowed Iwobi to just waltz past him tells me that he maybe is still not too sure about whatever that is troubling him. The same could be said maybe for Maddison, who fortunately was able to pull through and make it and join the national setup as has Poro, I believe. So all these players, when they know that they have an international call up on the horizon, somehow or other, there I see this trend. I see this growing trend. It's not only at Spurs, but for some other mid-table teams where they have these internationals who haven't been called up for a long, long time, and all of a sudden, oh, congratulations, Pedro Porro, you've been called up, but guess what? You have to make sure you pull through your last league game unscathed, and I believe that's what he was doing. I mean, I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but it felt like he wasn't uh, at top gear for
No.
for the most part of the game. He was cruising. Let's just put it that they were cruising. The same can be said
Yeah.
for Assar and Bissouma and pretty much every other player. The only one whom I realized stood up and took responsibility was a new member of the leadership group. That's Romero,
Yeah.
and the goalkeeper from Italy who openly declared that he would have walked all the way from Italy to
Mm.
N17 and sign his contract in blood.
I
Those two
know.
players were the only two players
Impressive.
who did themselves any credit on the day. So yes,
Yeah.
to answer the first part, it's a bit of a overreaction. And two, the biggest factor that disappointed me was how these young players in our setup that were very vital to Ange Ball, but didn't really have that the maturity to sort of balance between club and country. They let their national pride and their national duties get in the way. And I felt that that was part and parcel of why they were rather reserved or not too feisty, maybe say for
Mm.
the best part of the rest of the
Yeah.
early part of the season.
Yeah, you could have hit the nail on the head there, I think, because I know Romero last season, whenever there was an international break, he would either be injured or he'd go missing or something had happened so that he could play for Argentina, which you don't blame them because they are patriotic boys, but they do play for Spurs as well. So, you've got to have that balance. But
His
to
World
tell you
Cup
the
call
truth,
up, his
yeah,
World
go
Cup
on.
call up brings to mind.
Yeah, that's true, right? So, but to tell you the truth, right, I wouldn't tell any fan, myself personally, that they're wrong in how they see how we reacted. The only thing I would say is you've got to calm down on the Ange part because if we do put pressure on this ball buckles. They've got a track record of buckling when the fans start getting disgruntled with things, right? And there's loads of other YouTube content creators who have said, um, you know, um, basically we have to calm down and let Ange have time, yeah, and let him build his team because remember he inherited a lot of the players, and then he had a new lot of players that may have not been his choice. We don't know what goes around in the background, but hopefully most of them were, you know. Especially Brennan Johnson, because the jury's out on Brennan Johnson, and then we got the club signing from Werner, because even Postecoglou admitted that one that it was a club signing because he basically said he was presented to me, right? It wasn't his choice, it was presented to him. And he said, yeah, I would like to have him at the club. Well, when you think about it, he's got Sonny going off to the Asian Cup and he's got the African boys going to the African Nations Cup. So he had no choice, really. He could have said no, but then who does he play in Sonny's position? And Solomon's injured, Hill's not up to scratch. Richarlison is probably the best one who we could have put there, but he wanted him to play as a number 9 because probably Richarlison was saying, look, play me as number 9, right? So, managers have tough decisions to make at the toughest times, and sometimes they make the wrong mistake. They make the wrong call. So I'm not saying Werner's the wrong call, but he's not my cup of tea. He really isn't. I just don't see how he adds any flavour to our play. He's got speed, but he hasn't got finishing. And the 2 goals that he scored are basically my dead grandmother could have scored them. There you go, Mia. Right, so moving on, because at the end of the day, everybody's got their own entitlement to what they say, and how they feel about the club. So, we have to take it with a pinch of salt. Sometimes when you lose, it's one of those things where you feel really depressed and it really gets under your skin, especially the way we played, Chan. We didn't play to our normal standard, nowhere near our normal standard, and it was a little bit underwhelming, and they didn't have that fire in their belly when they came on the pitch. There was a couple of players who did. I would say Dragushin was trying, but he was caught out a few times, but that's because he's new to the Premiership and it's a very fast paced league. So you've got to forgive him. He will come good, because we've seen what he can do, and that's why we bought him. And remember, this is a boy that we beat Bayern Munich to, so the club must have a lot of faith in him. So let's get back to the chat anyway. Ben Kaufman saying the loss at Fulham came at the worst time, with all the news of ticket prices, concessions, and other news around the club. Ange has taken the brunt for things that are not up to him. Very true. What do you think about that, Chang?
This is actually a very good opportunity for me to bring up, or rather for me to add to what Mr. Ben Kaufman just said. I fully agree with what he said about this one, the how the away loss at Fulham came at the worst possible time, because on the hindsight of what Daniel Levy and the board of directors decided to do with the increase in the ticket prices and also the withdrawal of the concessions for the elderly, I believe they did all that with the hindsight that since we were able to trash Aston Villa 4-0 away at Villa Park, how much worse or how much better could we then perform at Fulham away just before the international break? And I feel that they were overconfident, or rather a bit, overreaching with their goals for either the financial status or the well-being of the club financially. But that sort of announcement usually follows after, say, a big win, maybe say away at Woolwich, or maybe away at Liverpool, something along those lines. They thought that maybe they could sandwich the ticket price increase and also the removal of the concessions by sandwiching that decision between, say, a Villa away win and a Fulham away win just before the international break. How wrong were they when that fully backfired? Not only did it backfire, but the Levy out, the Ange out, even calling for some players, Dragushin or Bissouma, or even club captain Sonny at that really just drove, I think, the final nail in the coffin for Levy. No matter how good a summer transfer window, we are bound to get in about 5, maybe 4 months tops from now, by July or latest August. No matter how good that transfer window is, I think he won't save his job. If I were to be perfectly honest, he might be he might have a revolt in his hands if we don't recruit wisely, or if we fail to make top four, because that's what the expectations of the majority of the fans are. Even though a large portion of us had Big Ange as relegation candidates without Kane and with Sonny not really performing last season. So for me, it's almost a case of last chance saloon now for Enoch and Levy, and that was a big PR misstep by the board as a whole.
Very true. So Colin Blackshaw saying Fulham can shock a lot of big teams. They have a good team these days. They do. And you know what? They've got players who can turn it on the day, right? And Willian was absolutely fabulous. And Robinson on that wing was absolutely brilliant as well. And then you got Iwobi on the other side. And because our fullbacks, if you want to call them traditional fullbacks, they weren't up to scratch. And I think they had... I'm with you on that, Chan. I don't think they're 100% fit, because it just didn't look like it. But against Villa, it did look like they were okay. But remember, Udogie took a big whack from John McGinn, and most people don't get up after John McGinn's hit them. And then they had Paulinho to deal with, who was like a Trojan in midfield, wasn't he? He was bossing everything. We just couldn't get the ball running smoothly either. Our passing was woeful. And, you know, it was just one of those things. You've got to say, a bad day at the office, but it was a bad performance as well. Like, you know, a lot of players didn't play well. That's why we lost. Because if a couple of them had turned it on, we might have even scored a goal. And we created chances. I looked at the stats, but the stats are very deceptive in this game. I just think, yeah, it's just one of those things. Anyway, Swim Master saying, I think it's telling when Richie said country over club, as I had a sneaky feeling before the game that our players had one eye on the.
Oops, she might have dropped out. Oh, okay, she's back.
Yeah, I'm back. Right, so I think we should move on to the second question, which you're going to take. So, Jose, bring in the second question for us. Okay, I'll read Daniel E's one before we go there. Difference is Liverpool had more patience to begin with because Klopp took them to a final in his first season. Very true. Yeah, I think it was the League Cup final. I think he lost, or was it the FA Cup final? One of those two domestic cups he got to, but I think he lost it, wasn't it? Yeah, because his first trophy was against us. Phil Coys, I was on with him last night on Jacob Street. Welcome, Phil. Morning, Ellie and Chang. Morning. Ben Kaufman saying sub to the Calfee company. Yep. Yeah, what a great channel Ben's got there. A chill out channel. You can go and have some fun and laughter over there. And he's got lots of people popping into his coffee shop as well, making them a delicious cup of coffee, which we don't have privy to unless we go. So I'm going to be down your shop soon. Right. And Ben Kaufman was also saying, if you haven't already subbed to Mia, she's at www.youtube.com at Spurs Between the Lines 1. Don't forget the 1, people. But you can even type in Spurs Between the Lines on YouTube and you'll find Mia. And she's got lots of shorts as well. Try and like as many as you can, or all of them. Right, so Ben Kaufman saying sub to Tottenham on tour. Yep. So that's https // www.youtube.com at Tottenham on tour. What a fabulous channel that is. And it's full of really meaty content, you know, and they don't shirk away from anything at Tottenham on tour. It's really good to watch because they have very interesting guests on, and you know they really get into the nitty gritty of the club and how we're run, and you know what they're disgruntled with as well. So you know it's no holds barred on Tottenham on tour, but they are a fair channel as well. They really do talk sense, in my opinion. Right? So yeah. So if Jose's in the background, can we have the second question, please? If he's there. I don't think he's there though. Right, do you have the questions in front of you, don't you? You're on mute. I sent them to Chang as well.
Ellie.
Oh, Colin's come in. Hello, Colin.
No, it's me, Ellie.
Oh.
Right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right, I'm putting it up. So Spurswasian TV is the one that's on there at the moment to link that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So Ben Kaufman's also saying to subscribe to Eugene and Chang, and they do a brilliant watch along. It's just started a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? So yeah, so that's https / www.youtube.com / Spurswasian TV 3195. Eugene, he's been around for so long. He's a fabulous guy. Started off with Mr. K as well. What a fabulous channel that was. And now he's gone alone, and he's with Chang. Are you both doing normal shows, or are you just doing watch-alongs?
Currently, we are doing watch-alongs as well as pre-match previews, or rather pre-weekend previews, and also maybe some post-weekend reviews as well. But on the whole, yes, we are doing shows on midday and also watch-alongs over the weekends,
Lovely.
and we are going to be having a sort of a season review in about an hour's in about 90 minutes from now. In about 90 minutes from now, I believe it's going to be 1 p.m. 1 p.m.
Yeah.
UK time.
Okay.
So 90 minutes from now, at 1 p.m. UK time, the moment this is over, I will be heading straight on over to Spirituation TV to pick up from where me and Mr. Eugene left off last week during the live watch along.
Yeah, well, me and you are both on overtime because I'm going to be on Kate's later. But the disabled team is saying just persuasion. So very, very much, you know, he if he was here himself, he'd thank you. So I'm thanking you on his behalf. So let's have the second question, Jose. And Chan's going to ask me it.
Can I just very quickly answer this for the
Oh,
disabled team? I believe he might have seen me try and wipe some sweat off my brow.
oh no.
It's it is 7:30 p.m. here in the evening. It's evening. It's still evenings. 7:30 in the PM, but it's something like 36, 37 degrees for a 7:30
Wow.
p.m. weather. So
Wow,
if you want
that's
to
hot.
know how hot it is over here,
I
let's
can
just say
see you
that
wiping the sweat off your brow.
it was in the regions of 39, close to 40 maybe, or borderline 40 in midday. And me, being a construction guy, out in the open in the construction site, let's just say I did not want to be where I was under the sweltering sun at midday.
Yeah. You wanted to
I'm
be on the
thankful.
beach, Chan, not on the
I,
construction site.
I I might be. I just might be on the. I just might go to the beach sometime on
Why not?
Sunday morning
Yeah.
because it's a Spursless weekend. So where better else to chill than sun, sand, and surf on a Sunday morning?
Yeah. And the girls as well, Chan, but don't tell the wife.
Most definitely, I will never go by my own.
Okay, so this is your question, Chan, so take it away.
So I'm just going to add on a bit to what I've already mentioned a lot earlier with regards to the first question, in which I believe the fans have been completely over the top knee-jerk reaction. I would call it a knee-jerk reaction to the away loss at Fulham because everything that could have possibly gone their way just went perfectly, swimmingly perfectly for them, and everything and anything that went badly for us just collapsed like a house of cards almost. And
Yeah.
if you look back at the losses that we've chalked up thus far this season, you would think that losing away at Fulham without scoring, we wouldn't even be able to get a single point out of playing Arsenal away, Manchester City away, United away, even what was it, Liverpool at home. You would think that we wouldn't get a single point from these results, but guess what? We have not only did we pick up points in all those matches I mentioned, we have actually not lost in those matches which I did mention, which was Arsenal away, City
Yeah.
away, United away,
Yeah.
even Villa away, who are currently sitting in fourth. We've not lost to those teams away. The only thing that we did lose to away was Chelsea, I believe it was, and they're not even in the frame for top four. So that tells you that it was a bad day out of office, and that this one loss, or although it is a rather damaging loss, I would say, but come on, we just only thumped Villa 4-0 at home. Although it was largely thanks to a red card for Villa from the hour
McGinn.
mark. Yeah, hour mark. I think it was 60 odd minutes or so. They were playing
Yeah.
like the last half hour with 10, and that actually allowed us to get those two extra goals in extra
Yeah.
time and help with our goal difference. But are you telling me that immediately after that very morale boosting win away at Villa Park, we suddenly go away to Craven Cottage, fail to score there, and it's all doom and gloom all over again? You'd think that the way the fans were clamoring for Big Ange to get sacked, you'd think that it was Juan de Ramos in his first full season after lifting our last silverware. You'd think that we'd only gained something like 2 points from our first 7
He
games.
lost 8 games. Was it 8 games he lost? And then he
It
got
was,
the boot.
I,
I believe he must
I,
have been on a different mission that year, because he let him go. I think it was 11 games in, and we'd lost 8 or something similar to that, if I recall. If anybody knows the proper stats for Juan Ramos, I think it was either 7 or 8.
it was 2 points from 7 games. And that
Yeah,
was immediately after losing Berbatov, immediately after
I know.
selling Kane. We got Pavlyuchenko, who looked out of sorts under Juan de Ramos. We also had Darren Bentz still in the squad
Yeah,
at that point. That wasn't really justifying his transfer fee from Carlton Athletic. And we
yeah.
also got a very young and unimpressive Fraser Campbell on loan from the team that
Yeah, I
stole
remember.
Berbatov from us. So the way fans were clamoring for Ange to be sacked was somewhere along those lines. But come on, people, how many losses have we had this season? Any other season, we would be sitting well in third, maybe even fourth right now, with the chasing pack high on our tails. But still, we will be up. We'll be in and amongst the top 3.
Yeah.
This season, however, the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, and City, they are well above the rest. Top 4 is still very much in our hands. Put it this way: as bad as that loss was, top 4 is still very much in our hands. We
Yeah.
just have to match Aston Villa result for result and improve on the goal difference and capitalize on that postponed match against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and top 4 is ours again.
Yeah, and I think people got short memories, right? Because when Postecoglou came in, he inherited quite a big mess, right? And he's put a lot of players out on loan. He's shifted a lot as well. Plus, he's brought in an ethos of play. It's his own style of play and his philosophy that he's learnt throughout the years, and it's been very credible everywhere he's gone. And a lot of people have been making noises that the Premiership is different, but football's football. If you play that style properly, it will reap its rewards, because we've seen Man City play more or less the same style, but they've got better technicians in key areas that make them more fluid. All right. So, and also because they got short memories, because he was breaking Premiership records. He won managers of the month in his first 3 months, and he's won London Manager of the Year as well. But the thing is, you have to take the rough with the smooth in football sometimes, right? So this is a rough time now, because we've just lost to Fulham, and it was a hefty defeat. Sorry. So we have to move on from this and try and regroup. When the players come back from the international break, we're going to probably have VDV, and VDV is like having 5 defenders. It really is, because he covers the whole back line. Right, so we're relying on this boy to pull us out a lot of trouble, and it's seen us win a lot of games when he's played. I think we've only lost, I don't even know if we've lost 1 game with him. I think we've lost 1 game when he started. I think that is the stat. That's what I heard. And also, you've got to think that he's putting his whole ethos of philosophy within the club. It's not just our first team. Every single team is playing it, and Coover made a very good point on Kate's show the other day, and he said that it's vital that you have a style of play and an identity as a club, because if you don't and you're chopping, you get Manchester United. Look at their season. All right, they've got to an FA Cup semi-final, but they still have to win it, right? And also, they've got a lot of stick for their style of play, whereas us football pundits in general and people, other fans that I speak to, they love the way we play, right? I was watching the Football Terrace the other day, and Terry Fleurs, before we had the 3-0 defeat to Fulham, he's going, I love the way Spurs play, because other fans, they're not so tense, and they watch the game with different eyes, and they maybe see things that we don't see as fans, because we're invested in the club and we want us. We'll be the biggest critics of any individual mistake or any team mistake where you haven't turned up like we did against Fulham. So we've got to move on from that and, you know, give this man time because he's a great manager. I think the way he speaks as well, very candid, very open and honest, you know, and he's got no frills about him. You know, he's got no ego. He's come in and he wants to be at our club and he wants to make a change. All right. So even like in his last presser where he said about, I don't just want top four, nor do we. We don't want just top four. We want to win trophies. We want to be relevant again. We want other clubs, fans to say that's Tottenham Hotspur, not Spursy. Right. But Spursy, I don't even mind it. You know, I don't even mind it because it's just a word to me. It doesn't mean anything to me, right? All I know is that he will get it right. Once he's got his team assembled, now he needs the help of the board. They have to let the purse strings go a little bit further, you know, because we're the 5th highest spenders, Chang, and we're 5th in the league. And we're always around about 3rd to 5th, round about that age, apart from last season, where everything collapsed and we finished 8th. Yeah, but you expected that because what happened, you know, we weren't going to do any better than that. But there's things to look forward to this season, and that North London derby's coming up very soon, and I'm sure we're going to be up for that match. So, yeah. So Swim Master's saying, Ellie, off topic, back in the day, do you remember the Metropolitan Police running a 5-a-side football competition for the youth? I thought that was great and boosted the morale between youth and police. Yeah, I remember, you know, like growing up in Tottenham, Chang, right? It was for me as a woman, it was easy to grow up in, but for a boy, I think it was different because of there's a little bit of aggro there, you know, and the police were always antagonizing people. And, you know, there was a love-hate relationship between the schools and the general public in Tottenham with the police. And there was a lot of unrest, you know, there was a lot of riots and things like that. But when you bring football and you gel the community, whatever you do, if it's at school level, the public, you know, you do gel people, and football is a great healer when it comes to diversity and thing. But then football's got a big responsibility as well to uphold good values in the society, you know, and sometimes there's a lot of things that happen in football which are not too clever, you know, and they're disgusting and disgraceful. So we got to have the police trying their best to gel the community as well. So I do agree with Swim Master, and I do remember that. I remember them coming to Drayton School as well and playing against my brothers. So there you go. So Eltel Cockerell saying, Swim Master, I played in those in the late 70s and early 80s. Yeah, I bet you were a bit faster then as well, Eltel. Was there, or as Chang would say, Senor Garcia. Yeah, so the disabled team saying, sorry, but people calling for Ange to be sacked are bird brains. Yeah, probably seagulls if Mia's got anything to do with it because she hates them. So Mr. Fox Office, yes, Alex is in the house. Big up, Ellie. You know that's not true. I've overreacted to the result. I told you I was sceptical about Ange. Now I hate him because of the fan base. You know why. I really do get Alex. I really do get him. A lot of people misunderstand where he's coming from. What he means is like the board have to back the manager, and he says he hates Ange, but he hates the thought that the board are not going to back him, and then the fans are going to turn against him, and then the board will buckle, and that we got on that cycle again. It's like rinse and repeat, and he's fed up with it, like a lot of fans, you know, and it's not a good thing for a big club like Spurs to keep on sacking managers. You've got to give them time to build their philosophy, to build their team, to have the backing from the board. It's like something to the manager's heart that you trust him to build something at your club. But we've fallen by the wayside because Levy buckles and it's not good. Anyway, Alex, I'll back you all the way anyway. So, and Ben Compton saying, I want to see Ange after another summer transfer window. If he still persists with only one way of playing, it would be incredibly worrying. You have to tweak things. Do you know what, Ben? I don't know about you, Chang, but I think he does tweak a little bit here and there. Because when he brings on Højbjerg, he knows Højbjerg is not the type of technician, right? Even though I love him, he's not the technician that can move the ball quickly. He's like a put your foot on the ball, think about it, and then pass. Yeah? So he does tweak things, but he doesn't tweak things in terms of the formation, I think Ben's thinking, because he likes the traditional fullbacks and not this inverted stuff, and he says a lot of players, they haven't got the discipline or the experience to manufacture that philosophy that Ange is trying to instill in them, so they lose their way. But when it clicks, isn't it marvellous to watch? Because we've seen it quite a few times this season, but more often than not, they've lost concentration. I would say at least 60-40, right? Where you thought, bloody hell, is this going to work? He needs to change things up. But Ange, he's a very stubborn man, and he really does believe in what he's trying to do. And I think that is a good trait in a manager, when you have the belief and you have the skills, because he hasn't come just from one club. Celtic, he's coached the Australian national team. He's coached the under-21. He's coached them to win the Asia Cup. So he's got a lot of experience behind him, and I feel he believes in what he's doing. So, and it takes time to get that complete belief in the players as well, because they've got to believe in it, and they've got to concentrate so that they don't lose their discipline within his system. And I've seen a lot of the times when we've conceded goals, it's because they just don't think sometimes, because they're young and they're not experienced players. So I think in the summer, I personally want us to sign a couple of really statement signings, experienced players, and get a couple of youngsters splattered around, but not too many, maybe one or two youngsters and about 4 or 5 experienced players that can take us to that next level. What do you think, Chan?
I feel that I think you actually hit the nail on the head with regards to our signings, or rather the lack of in key positional areas that will really make us a force to reckon with. I believe that especially the wingers, they could use with a massive upgrade. If you think that Timo Werner is going to be our, let's say, our linchpin or our trump card as far as breaking teams down and really, consistently assisting and scoring, I think, I feel there is a player there, but he's not the kind of player you would want in your squad if you're going to be challenging the top 3. He is a good squad player, don't get me wrong. He is good when he comes on, and we've seen that in spurts, but for challenging in the top 3 or even the top 4 on a consistent basis, we need someone who can really do what Gareth Bale did for us back in the day. Yeah. Especially if you remember AVB's first full season, was it? Or rather, should I say, Bale's last season. If only we had someone like Bale who was with us in that final season, he was with us. If only we had one of him in either the left or the right, we'd be a whole different team altogether. Yeah. Doesn't matter if Richarlison's up front. Doesn't matter if Son's up front. For all I care, I wouldn't even matter if it's Dane Scarlett in centre forward. We have a Bale on either of those flanks. We'd be cooking, and Ange Ball would take a whole new level, a whole new dimension. Don't get me wrong though, what Mr. Benjamin Kaufman mentioned earlier with regards to Ange being rather predictable and not so fluid as when it comes to manipulating or rather adapting to what's happening on the pitch. I believe there is sufficient proof this season that would say that yes, there are times where he gets his decisions wrong, or he's a bit too slow in making tweaks and changes that would affect the game for the better for us. But on the whole, I would say that Big Ange still has a lot to learn, especially when it comes to exploring what this team has to offer. Because coming back to what we said, what I felt really about that match away at Fulham, for the most part, especially for the first hour or so, when we had that midfield three of Maddison, Sarr, and Bissouma. From what I saw, Big Ange gave me the impression that he was letting those players figure out for themselves how best to combat that midfield that was completely over them and all over the place, as was our midfield. And when he'd given them enough time, just like a doting parent, you give them enough time, and by the hour mark, he's seen enough. He's telling himself, okay, you know what, guys, you've done your part, but all of you are not working. You're not working together. I need a complete overhaul in midfield, which is why all three of them were hauled off, and we saw Kulusevski shift to midfield. We saw Bentancur and Højbjerg come on. And that worked. That worked for the most part, even after their third goal, which I thought was very fortuitous, the way it rebounded off the post and off Vicario, whereby it just fell so kindly. It fell so kindly for whoever it was who tapped it home. And when I saw that third goal trickle in, it didn't slot in, it didn't roll in, it trickled in. That just tells me that, you know what, this is just one of those days. I'm just going to write it off. I'm I'm not even going to bother about it. I'm not even going to worry about it. This is just another bad day in the office. We still have another 10 more to go. There's 30 points on the table on offer for us. Let's see how many more of those 30 we can muster and see how high we finish in the table this season. And back Ange, the only way forward and upwards is to back Ange. There's no other way about it. I seriously doubt it we can cope with yet another managerial change now that everything is so tight and fiercely contested.
And what I would say about the substitutions, they did come a bit late, Chang, because it was 15 minutes before the end that he brought on Højbjerg and Bentancur, right? And those two players, my hat goes off to them because they absolutely bossed the midfield when they came on, and that they played a whole 2 years together under Conte and Nuno, right? That year we finished Champions League and there was a two-man midfield, and they had to cope with 3 and 4 men midfield, and they were doing marvellous when we qualified for Champions League. So there is a big call for Højbjerg and Bentancur to start against Luton. But me personally, I wouldn't start Højbjerg, even though he's my man. I wouldn't start him because we've lost every game that he started. So I wouldn't do that. But I would start Sarr with Bentancur and drop Bissouma. I'll give Bentancur Bissouma's place, because one thing about Bentancur, right? He can parade the back foot, and he's used to deep line defensive work, and he can bring the ball up as well. And Sarr can do the more forward role, but he also can help out Bentancur because he's got a fabulous engine on him, and I think that would work, right? And I don't think Bissouma deserves to start after that performance. That was atrocious. You know what? I gave him a 0. He was that bad, you know. So yeah. So we'll go on to the next question because we haven't got that long. We've only just got over half an hour before we both have to leave. So let's have the next question, and I'll just read out the disabled team. Smash the likes, please, everyone. Not only does it help the channel, but it shows your appreciation of ELLY and Chang for taking the time to do this truly wonderful show. Thank you very much. That's very nice words. And then we've got Swim Master saying, I sometimes get frustrated with Ange post-match interviews, not really giving anything away, even after a bad playing match, but definitely need to give Ange time and more transfer windows. Yeah, I get that. I get that about the press conferences. I think what he is, he's a very cagey manager. He wants to keep some cards to his chest, because if you let all your secrets out and the way you're feeling, the players see the interviews as well. I'm sure they watch them, and he doesn't want to really over criticize or, you know, throw them under the bus, because that's not his style. And he tends to keep his distance from the players anyway. That's one thing he's done all throughout his career. So he doesn't want to get too close to them, because then he has to make the tough decisions, who he's going to chop and who he's going to keep, you know. And as a manager, I think he personally does well at the press conferences, because he's very honest about the way we've played. And he's very honest with the way he addresses the reporters, because some of them can be right little shits. They really can. And they can be right, you know, they can ask really awkward questions. Like, you know, when he said about Eric Dyer not being fit, and he goes, "Do you question my integrity?" You know, because he put it to that reporter, he threw it back at him. So I like that about Ange, because he won't take no prisoners. He will say what he has to say in that given moment. So we got the disabled team saying, the only thing I will say is Bielsa only had one way of playing, and was stubborn and wouldn't change it. Ended up costing him his job because of the results. Yeah, but I think, right, we've got a better team than Chelsea. We've got better technicians to perform that style. Plus, I think they were more of a counter-attacking play. They didn't really play our style as such. I think they used to hit teams on the counter. Very exciting to watch, though, that Bielsa team. And I used to love him when he was on the sideline, crouching down on his bucket. You know, what a character. He was fantastic. We got Leo. Hello, Leo. Huge hugs to the homies in the place to be. Yes. At Eltel Cockerel. Come on. Well done. David Shire's joined us. Good day, Ellie and Chang, Cobber and Cobbett. Yes. And you see, we've got the kangaroos out for you, David Shire. Shia, sorry, not Shire.
Mr. David Shear, if you can hear me, if you're listening to this live right now, I hope you're feeling a lot better. I read somewhere earlier this week, I believe it was on Kate's show, was it? Where you said that you weren't feeling well, and that I believe it was Mr. James Boxall was actually messaging you live as the show was going on, trying to find out about your condition. I'm so glad that you are on the road to recovery. If I were you, Mr. Shear, I would actually call it a day early, because I believe it's 8 p.m. right now for you. So if there's one tip that I can give you with regards to just living a very healthy and very fruitful, or not fruitful, a good life, okay, a very well balanced life. Sleep early, get that early sleep. You have absolutely no idea the wonders it does for the mind, soul, and the body.
Yeah, that's very good advice, Chang. See, Chang's a philosopher as well, you see. We have them all on our show. Now we got Potomac saying, big up Ellie and Chang, wondering how many football YouTubers have actually played the game. I've played and like to think that I know how it works. Yeah, Potomac, I used to be a central attacking midfielder for Spurs ladies back in the day, and I'm sure Chang's played, and our Eltel Cockerel's still playing. He plays. When I first saw Jose, it was on I think it was on Twitter first, if I'm correct, and then he joined the chat at THFC Till I Die. So we formed a friendship, and he talked about his football even then. You know how lovely he likes getting out the house to play football with his mates, and he really enjoys it. And I'll tell you what, is football's camaraderie as well. Whether you play it, watch it, or you've got kids who play it, it brings the whole community together. And what a great sport, the beautiful game. So we've got to embrace this beautiful game of ours. And sometimes you have to take the knocks, you know, in football. Even Liverpool lose games, even Manchester City. I think they've lost 3 this season so far. So, you know, sometimes football, it's a healer as well, because look how it's brought all the YouTube community together on WhatsApp, on streams, you know, and obviously there are times where people fall out, but then you make up, and then sometimes you don't make up, but that's part of life. That happens in all sorts of societies, you know, not just on YouTube, right? So we've got to big up the game of football here. And then Pottermac saying some of the fan base believe barking loud makes a great captain. Really get Dyer back. He's a tree trunk brig that barks loud. You know what? He's even gone from our club and he's still getting the stick. I apologise if Bobby K's going to tune in to his boy Jay, because he loves Eric Dyer like I like Hoybier. Right, so the disabled team saying, I played when I was young, started the junior football club when I was in my 30s. Well done. Got it FA affiliated and started to take my coaching badges. Got level 1 and then unfortunately lost my leg. Oh, that's such a shame, you know. But the thing is, you've still got footballs in the brain, right? All right, one leg's gone, you know, but you still can do things in football, you know, and pass your knowledge on, you know. So the main thing is you still love football, and you can never take that away from your heart. So keep on going. You got your badge. Do your second badge if you can, you know, and give something back to your community, because you've got so much talent there, you know, so much knowledge. It'd be a shame that if you waste it. I'm not sure if you're back in the game. You let us know anyway, regardless. So Daikaru, whee! I love Daikaru. Hi everybody. I once got man of the match as keeper of a losing team. That lost 8-3. I got 3 assists and stopped about 40 shots. I mean, Daikaru, we'll have to start calling you Vicario.
I've just looked at the stats. He said that he got 3 assists. He got 3 assists in the game that his team lost 8-3.
So
that means
he
he
assisted all the
assisted.
goals.
He
So it must have been his
assisted.
throw-ins, or you know where you
I
throw
would,
the
I
ball
would,
out and the player
I would
scores.
think that. I would think that
Or
maybe
tipped it.
he's a set piece specialist. Dekaru, are you a set piece specialist? One of those
Maybe he came
goalkeepers
out
who
of
goes
goal,
up for
yeah.
goals?
You know. But either way, Daikaru, that's impressive. 40 saves, that's impressive. To make 10 saves in a game is impressive, but 40 is that on another level. So a disabled team saying, I know you played at a high level, Ellie, but didn't know you played for the club you support. Yeah, I grew up in Tottenham, right? And I won't go on too much, but I was spotted by Spurs ladies. But that time we weren't an affiliated club with the club itself. We were just Tottenham, well, we were Spurs ladies, not Tottenham Hotspur ladies. And then in 1985, 2 ladies, Sue Sharples and Kay, started up Tottenham Hotspur ladies. They were with a Broxbourne team in Hertfordshire, and they started off Tottenham Hotspur ladies. And by that time, I'd got married, and I was doing my coaching badges as well. I've got my first coaching badge as well, but I didn't do my second one because I got married and then I had children, and then football didn't take a backseat. I was still in football, but I wasn't really coaching, but I still love football. I watch football. I go and watch grassroots football and help young kids play as well, you know, and coach them later on in my life, not straight away, because I was busy having children, to tell you the truth. And Eltel Cockero say, please give the stream a like. It helps. Come on, people. Press that like. Come on. We don't ask for much here. Pottermac saying, Real Madrid has Nacho and City has Walker. Do they have to bark to motivate players? No. They simply have a great manager and a great squad. Son's not captain material, they say. I personally think he is, because in this modern day football, right, you don't need a yellow. That was back in the day. You need a really tough man to be a hard man. So, but Son does. He does say it, but it goes unnoticed most of the time. Like he does it with the crowd as well. He gets the crowd going, and you know, and he's always got like where we've been losing, he's got that stress on his face, and he looks at the players and he'll give them a dirty look, or he'll just whisper in their ear. He's not one to go bellowing. That's not his style. He's not his character. And some South Koreans are generally nicer people as well. But it doesn't mean he can't be a good captain. And look, we're fifth in the league. We can go fourth, and we could even get higher in the league if we put a string of results like we did when we made the last Champions League. We've got a very good chance. So Daikara was saying we were so bad, the entire opposition were in our half. So I booted the ball as hard as I could 3 times, and our one forward ran onto it and scored. No, that's like Bielsa football. Boot. Yeah, well, Dakaru, hats off to you, mate, because three assists from a goalie is fabulous. Ben Kaufman saying, if you haven't, please sub to Leo. Yeah, Leo's a good friend of YouTube. What a fantastic character he is. Brilliant in his community, helping out all unfortunate people. I'm more unfortunate than himself. And like he goes out and does so much charity work, the boy. So please do support the Mile High Hotspur. Yeah, 1882. That's Leo's channel, Mile High Hotspur. You can even type it in Mile High Hotspur and you'll find him. And he does some fabulous videos from the pub that he goes to. I was privy to one for the Crystal Palace match, which I was really deeply honoured that Leo had asked me to do that. So let's have the third question now, Jose. Let's have the third question up. Our Chang and Ellie, football and players alike, respect. True. And respect back to you as well. Tons of knowledge on screen. I love it. Yeah. Do you know what, Leo? Football is mine and Chang's love. We love it. You can see Chang, right, when he's got all those shirts and he's got all those scarves and he's got so much memorabilia. He like lives and breathes Spurs, A boy who's not even born in Tottenham as well. A boy who's born in Tottenham would be so proud to have Chang like as our supporter, and he's so knowledgeable as well. And he's got such a good heart. I love him. Yeah. So, right. So this is my question to you now, Chang. Where do we go from here? Does Ange have to change tactics, or does he stick to his football philosophy?
This is a very tricky question to have to answer because we have only just gotten to grips with Ange ball, and suddenly now we have to contemplate having to change it up just for the sake of staying relevant. So what most fans think about Ange ball and him not being able to acclimatize or adapt to what goes on field. Me personally, I feel that he doesn't need a complete overhaul of Ange ball. Rather, he needs the players who can play Ange ball, as well as say fall back to a secondary objective or even a secondary setting if Ange ball doesn't work. That's how I feel. That's what I feel needs. What Big Ange needs for his team, and also his Ange ball system going forward, especially next season and beyond, if it does last that long. For me, if you look at the players, sort of like Brennan Johnson has the pace. He has pace to burn. Make no mistake, but he doesn't. But he somehow or other lacks that consistent finishing quality and also crossing ability that would otherwise make him a world beater. The same can be said also for the likes of Kulusevski, who for some reason or another just isn't the same Kulusevski as he was after coming back from that injury. I believe it was last season. He's sort of kind of slowed down, almost like as though he were afraid to aggravate whatever he picked up earlier, and risk losing his spot in the national team, which, by the way, I thought he was the best performer for the Swedish team when they lost very convincingly. But that's for another show. This whole talk of a Big Ange having to change his tactics, yes, he does need to change his tactics, but and only but if he has the right personnel to do so. You try and change tactics with, say, a Bissouma on the pitch who couldn't care less, or is of more often than not in the latter half of this season found wanting, then we're going to have problems. If you had someone like, say, Dragushin, who's just only given his first ever start in the team since joining in January, you try to play Ange ball without Mickey van der Ven and utilizing him as a last defender, while Romero pushes so high up forward to assist in the midfield, you're going to leave lots and lots and lots of gaps at the back. Same can be said for the likes of Udogie and Porro. You have Udogie, who's good if he does do that inverted thing that Ange requires from his fullbacks. But when you try to play a normal 4-4-2, or maybe even a normal fullback or rather wing back who doesn't invert, then maybe his inability to distribute out from the back under pressure might be found out, as was the case against I believe it was Wolverhampton. Yeah, it was Wolves at home. And please do remind me, which other game was it where he did that misplaced back pass Queen Ellie that led to a goal? Was it Brentford?
Yeah, West Ham.
I think it was a misplaced.
West Ham.
It was a
at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he passed it back and they scored.
It was West Ham at home, and it was also Brentford at home, I believe, that led to Ivan Toney scoring the second goal
back again, and they scored.
So yeah, we have these players who are good at Ange ball, which is why Big Ange selected them to begin with. But these players, they need to somehow or other learn a secondary command, or rather a secondary function, to be able to adapt when the need for it calls, when there is a necessity to play out of your regular Ange ball system. And that is what I feel we require going forward, and that is why I feel the wingers will be a good place to start, as well as maybe an upgrade over Højbjerg and Oliver Skip, as well as finding a long-term forward, because I honestly don't think that Richarlison is the answer if we are to challenge consistently with the top three. Richarlison, as good as he was, as great as his purple patch was, he seems to be, sort of regressing. There's I think there is too much to. There is actually too much to.
To decipher.
To write in one season. We have the rebuild is well underway. Make no mistake, but there is too much to rebuild under one season for Big Ange to even contemplate top three. Top four, honestly, would be miraculous. Top four this season would be miraculous when you consider that second half, or rather the second quarter of the season, where we had so many walking wounded and so many suspended for all sorts of reasons. How we even managed to stay fifth after all this while is a mystery to me. So the way I see it, we need to back Ange all the way. Those who are still even part of the squad really need to pull up their socks. A big effort is required from all members of the squad, regardless if you are a confirmed starter or just a bit part bench player. We need a collective effort now in our final 10 matches and hope for top four, because I fully feel that Champions League is the only way we will be able to attract the cream of the crop of Europe and all over the world to come to N17.
Yeah, we've got Kuva joining us saying big up Chang, Ellie and all in chat. Kuva Bear, welcome to Eltel Cockerel, hosted by Ellie. So it makes sense, doesn't it? Right, so I was agreeing with you, right? But I personally think, right, we've got a lot of square holes in square pegs in round holes, right? So we've got Brennan Johnson, who's got pace to burn. We've got Werner, who's got pace to burn, and then we've got Kulusevski, who you want to have the pace to burn so that he can beat his man and actually have him beaten, because he lacks pace. He doesn't get beyond that defender because he's recovered, because he hasn't got that. And he's got a little bit of a burst of a pace, sorry, but then he sort of retracts, doesn't he? And then he cuts back and he invariably passes it back to Porro, or he'll look across, and if there's nothing on, he'll have a weak shot, right? Whereas when he was scoring, he was making that better position and the better body shape to score a goal. And we saw it against Sheffield United when he received the ball from Richarlison. He had the right body shape. He was ready for it. He was in the middle. And I personally think he'll be better deployed as a false nine, like he used to play for Juve. And I was having a really good chat with Danny of the Hotspur Hood, another big up to another guy who I really do like. Yeah, and we was talking about that because he played that role really well. And what he does, he can link up with Sonny and he doesn't have to do all that hard tracking back, which knackers him out. And then you lose the Kulusevski that you want to affect the game in the last third, right? Because he's so tired with helping out Porro, right? But then you have to have somebody on that side who's just as good as him, right? But can beat his man. Yeah, and get down to that byline, or even if he's going to check back, he's going to beat the man and get into that penalty box or put in a good cross, you know. And you've got to have somebody who's tenacious that can defend as well, because the way Postecoglou plays with the inverted fullbacks, you need somebody that's going to help out the defence. So there's a lot of work to be done still, yeah. But what I find is when VDV plays, we can get ourselves out of jail. You know, it's not because we've played particularly better. It's because he saves us so many times from so many dangerous positions that we find ourselves in, because we've let the play go and we've done a loose pass, and he can recover because he's got pace to burn. But the thing is, the main thing is that we get better technicians in the right positions. Like you said, get better wingers, because that's vital to Postecoglou's system. And we've got wingers they're not wingers. They really aren't. I mean, Kulusevski, before he came, he was playing more of a false nine or a midfield role. So no, I don't agree. But what he probably thinks is that Johnson's not going to do it for him either. And I think he feels Kulu gives more overall to the game. But I think he's going to we're going to see a whole new team next season with some really good wingers. I'm really praying all I can, Chang, that we get those two brilliant wingers, you know, so that we can actually affect the game more. Because Sonny, he's lethal. You give him a sniff of goal, he's the most clinical striker. He's just instinctive, you know, and he can go left foot, right foot. So you give him the ball and he'll put it in the back of the net, which he's proven already this season. He scored 13 and I think he's assisted 8 or 9. So that's a fantastic record considering where he came from last year, where he was carrying an injury. So, yeah. So can you pronounce that name? Jishnu Raju? Is it Jishnu Raju? Ange doesn't need to change his tactics. He just needs more quality individuals. That's exactly what I said. You know, you took the words out of my mouth. I said it earlier today as well. He needs better technicians in the key areas. And the key areas are striker, wingers, to make it work. You need another striker that can score you 20, 30 goals. Because Sonny, he is a regular scorer, don't get me wrong, and he's been very consistent, but we need another consistent scorer, because even though the other players have contributed, you still need that 20, 30 goals on top, and then you'll be competing at the top, because you need to score. I heard Adrian say this, you need to score between 86 and 90 goals to win the league, or have a sniff of it. You know, so Arsenal have already got 70 and they've got 10 games to go. So they're well on the mission to win the league. We don't want them to. No way. If there's any Arsenal fans in the chat, sorry, we don't want you to win it because we're Spurs. You're our rivals. We don't like you. Right, so Potterback saying, IMHO and simply needs players to too many players can't play multiple roles as he hopes. I.e. Dragusin is not a left-sided centre-back. He isn't, you know, but the thing is, he's played him there because he doesn't trust Davies, right? Because he's seen what Davies can offer, and it's not that much, right? So he's probably doing the lesser of two evils and seeing how he copes. And in the Villa game, when he came on, I thought he was very impressive. It was just that Fulham was so on it. Yeah, it was one of those days where everything went right for them and everything went wrong for us. So sometimes that happens in football. Right, I think we'll cover the other question now, Jose, the fourth question, because we've got another 10 minutes and then we'll have to sign off. Cooper's saying, does that make the show Ellie Telly Coccarelli? It could do. Well, I'll consult with Eltel later after this stream finishes. See what he says. And Stuart727. Hello, Stuart. Big up, Chang, Ellie, and everyone in the chat. Remember to press the like as you come in, guys and girls, whoever you are. You know, I wanted to get to that Australia question, so we jump to the Australia question because I know how that goes, Chang. We'll skip the other questions for another show because we've only got 10 minutes. So I wanted to ask you, Chang, we're going to play Newcastle over in Australia for one game. What do you think of that? What do you think the club are right, wrong, or what are your feelings?
The club is completely the club has completely lost the plot when it comes to PR. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, increasing those ticket prices and retracting the concessions for the elderly, they then go and try and pull these stunts, money-making stunts down under.
Do you think
Can you imagine? The board, Levy, Joe Lewis, Donna Cullen, whoever is making these decisions, they see our club as nothing more than a cash cow. The players, Big Ange, the staff, everyone else is expendable. Just so long as we make the money, just so long as we put up this completely pointless postseason friendlies, as long as it's lining the coffers for the financial accountants to tuck away to whatever offshore account Joe Lewis has that we don't know about, that the auditors completely missed out. This is a complete PR disaster. It's not going to do the players any good, especially those who are looking to rest up and prepare themselves for the Euros. A lot of people have completely forgotten that the Euros is coming up. I can assure you that Big Ange wouldn't want to jeopardize his European starters in this pre-season friendly. So I'm guessing we're going to see the fringe players and our bench warmers get lots and lots of minutes down under.
Yeah. True.
It just boggles. It absolutely makes no sense whatsoever, if you ask me, to do this postseason friendly. A pre-season friendly, however, would do a world of a good for our fringe players and our under-21s who didn't make it to the Euros. That makes sense. This unfortunately doesn't. And until Daniel Levy, and the board wisen up to some of these PR decisions that are just catastrophic at all levels, the image of the club.
They're going to carry on doing it though, aren't they? Because if they pull out a stunt like no concessions for the elderly, and then they pull this stunt. You see, Daikaro saying, I'm torn with the Australian match. For me, it would take 1,000-kilometre flight south to Melbourne with all costs maybe $1,000, maybe a second string team. I don't think I'll go. You see, even the Australian people, the thing is, you have to be living in Melbourne or somewhere in the vicinity to want to go, because it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. And they're probably going to charge $70, $80 for a ticket, I would imagine, or maybe even more. And like you said, it's like a big cash cow. It doesn't serve any purpose. You're flying our players who have already had a tough season, you know, and they're going all the way to Australia, which takes a whole day to get to, because my daughter's been to Sydney and then she went on to Melbourne. So I just feel, I don't know, it's a PR exercise. Okay, the global fan base need it, but they watch it on TV anyway. I know it's not the same as watching real life, but one game, at least if you're going to go, do a proper tour around Australia. But they've chosen South Korea another cash cow, and obviously Sonny's our captain as well. So they've chosen that destiny again. So yeah. Anyway, listen, we got to wrap up the show now, because first, before we wrap up the show, thank you very much, Chang. You've been a revelation. You've been so knowledgeable, and you give honest opinion all the time, and it comes straight from your heart. And I just want to remind people watching that we're going to have a 4 o'clock show where they do the score predictions. So make sure you tune in to Colin on Talk and Ball and LTEL Cockerel, because it'll be a dual stream at 4 p.m. today, GMT. Make sure you all tune in. And then at 12 o'clock tomorrow, Colin's hosting a members show with Jose. So hopefully you'll all join both of those streams, because these guys, they know what they're doing. They love their job. They love football, and it oozes out of every crevice of their body. So really do support them, and give them a like and a subscribe if you've yet to. And remember, sharing the stream link really does help, because I share a lot of people's links out, and they get a lot more views after. And it also, they can share it on as well, the other people that you shared with. So Ben Kaufman's saying, go over and watch Auntie Kate after the show. Yes, YouTube. Obviously, Kate is a big personality on YouTube. So she's at Just a Girl Who Loves Spurs, which I'm part of as well with Jimbo. And it's so lovely being on that stream. It's such fun. I'll give a big shout out to Bobby Kay as well at the Free Spurs Boys. Sorry. And who else do we have to say? Obviously, Ben Kaufman at the Calfee Company, sorry. And Daikari was saying something there, but I didn't quite see it. Can you bring that one up again, Jose? Love Chang, we in this part of the world all share the experience of late nights, early mornings, just to support our team. You know what? Football supporters, we're fabulous. The things that we do for our club, right? And supporting your club is supporting your club through and through bad times, through good times. We're going through some pretty good times at the moment with the way we're playing. You know, it's not all been, you know, petals and roses everywhere, but we're getting there. And I trust in Ange to build something with us, you know. And then Swim Master saying, great show. I recommend not only like and subscribe if you haven't already, but also share the link to your Spurs friends and families. That's it, Swim Master. Share it, because it makes a big, big difference, because they'll share it on to their friends as well, you know. But thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure hosting the show in Ash's, the beautiful Ash's replacement. And big up to LTEL, who's been doing our background work while he's been working. What a trooper. And Mile High Hotzer said, great job, Ellie and Chang. Thank you very much. We're not worthy. You know what, Leo, you're a stalwart of our community, and I can't wait to meet you for that North London derby. Oh my God, it's going to be so incredible. And I'll treat you, don't you worry. I'll take you down the West End and everything, show you the whole sights of London, because London is a beautiful city. When you go into the city itself, got some marvellous places to visit. So looking forward to meeting you, man. And thank you very much for joining us. And we'll leave you with the James Maddison song, I believe, Jose. Take us out. Ciao for
Ciao.
My team has got James Maddison. James Maddison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Maddison. This kid plays ball like you would never believe.